unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Yeah, this season I actually had little business cards made. Eric Rubino, Fantasy Baseball GM. You can keep that. Sure, the players are famous, but come game day, I decide their fate. What's that? Oh, you make $20 million? Well, I don't like your attitude. You benched! No, I'd never bench an all-star, but I could. That's also why I like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. With options based on my budget, they never throw me a curveball. That's a little baseball reference for you.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan. It's unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
And now, here are your hosts.
It's Thursday, April 16th. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Rich.
Michigan in the news. Again, not in a good way. Well, it's depending what side you're on, but yeah. Again, some people think we live in what was the bad Germany? Was it West Germany or East Germany?
East Germany.
Yeah, apparently some people think that's where we live.
Well, how does this work?
Gretchen is a German name.
So a bunch of people protest, and I was unclear on how this actually works because they're going to do it in their cars.
Yeah,
right. It sounds like they want to protest that they're being forced to social distance, but they also want to social distance as they protest.
They want to protest because, according to a handful of people, they can't go to Lowe's and buy seeds, and there's no golf going on, and why do we have to have golf shut down? Golf's a game of distance anyways.
Which,
the
irony of the whole day is we can't work in our gardens or be on our boats on a day where it's snowing.
Do you understand how any of this? Do you understand how people work at all? If you shut down nearly everything and then you go, okay, I'll make an exception for golf. Suddenly everyone's a fucking golfer, and now you've got everybody out infecting everyone else out on the golf field. The same for the boats. Everyone's going to go to the marinas. You tell them that all of a sudden they're a gardener.
Yeah, just like you can't leave the house unless you're going to get exercise, wash your, or walk your dog. I swear to God, I've seen the same fucking dogs being walked around the block 20 times a day. Everybody's a fucking health nut all of a sudden.
Yeah, by different people, right?
Dogs are the winner of the last 6 weeks. Dogs, one of the winners of this whole thing. Getting a lot of exercise, getting outdoors.
Now, Scott and AJ's, they're hiding in the corner of the fucking yard going, fuck off, I'm not going for another walk.
I'm done with walks. Enough with the walks.
Not the fucking monsters that live on either side of me. They're still running the same ruts in the backyard, tearing through their own turds. I've never seen those dogs go for a fucking walk. Those fucking miserable pieces of shit. I got 5 of them between both places.
Well, you live next door to the guy from...
I think the brown one on the one side is okay. He's just he's just going along with the rest of the bad pack.
See,
it's like Pitbull Central over
now that Aaron is at home 24/7, and because it used to be you'd go to work, and the morning
those dogs would just fuck all day and just.
And then the morning into the afternoon, let me sing you the song of my people bullshit would start, and I could barely get any sleep as it is because I'm a fucking insomniac. And I'm balancing sleep with the fact that I'm an animal lover, with the fact that I can put some rat poison in a piece of raw meat and shut everybody up real fucking quick.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, it's not their fault. Like if you notice, they put the fucking animals out and leave them out there for fucking 9-10 hours at a stretch. It's shitty owners.
Yeah, absolutely. But
the one house.
This is how you get Son of Sam.
Oh no, absolutely. But the one house has no excuse because if you're facing your house, the house to the left of you has no excuse because unless half those people moved out, there's like 7 people living there. You can't let the dogs in and out when they need to go in and out. Really? You have to leave them out all day? Now
no. There's got to be like 4 or 5 teenagers that live in that house that come out and sit in their cars and smoke pot out front. They run cars with no muffler for 20, 30 minutes at a time. but nobody has. I haven't seen him pet a dog. I haven't seen him walk a dog. I haven't seen him do anything but kick a dog out of the house and occasionally let it back in.
Absolutely. And the lady to the right of you, if you're facing your house, I don't know about but there's an old lady that lives there. I'm assuming that's that's Mama or whatever. I'm sure
family there.
I'm sure Papa took himself out if that's Mama a long time ago because he was like, I ain't waking up to this anymore. But anyway, she just leaves the fucking door open because their back door's inside the gate. She leaves the door open. They run in and out all fucking day and night. And that's right by my fucking old bedroom window. And I used to hear that shit. And I'm just like, I swear to fucking God.
But anyway, let's bitch about our neighbor, other Michigander neighbors, not the ones right next to me.
So those dogs, not the winner of the pandemic.
I just want to say this real quick. Have some common fucking courtesy with your animals, folks. This ain't got nothing to do with Michigan. This is just be a decent fucking pet owner. How about that?
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave your goddamn kid outside for 10 hours a day. I hope.
Dogs can be a good asset to the home as far as being an early warning system for somebody trying to fuck with your shit. I get that. But that's an additional benefit on top of having a friend and somebody that you take care of. That's not. Don't buy dogs for the sole purpose of feeling safe.
No, that's what a shotgun's for. And here's a tip. Here's a pro tip. You don't even need to buy shells. Just rack the motherfucker if you think someone came through the front door. That noise is universal for you about to die, bitch. So just a little piece of advice.
Yeah, the most those dogs have to look forward to is getting shot by a cop.
Damn.
In that neighborhood? Yeah.
We're just going dark right away? Like just right away, just right into the darkness.
When we wrap up this show, I'll tell you something. They made me go, the first time I walked into that house. But I don't want to put it on. I don't want to put it on blast here on the show. So anyways.
Yeah, Rich is talking about the dents in my side door from what it apparently had to be. Well, it looks like they tried and unsuccessfully to ram the door down.
Yes. And I'm like,
and then there's a secret room up in the attic.
And they didn't even pound out the dents or replace the door. They just rented that shit out. It's like
they just paint over it.
And I'm sitting there like, I've got friends on one side of the law. I know what that is, and I know why there's these almost perfect circles right by where the door handle is, because you were trying to bust the fucking shit open.
Yeah. It's not a bad place, but it's like, you know how they do in Detroit. They pay a homeless guy to come in and just paint one color over everything. He'll just go right over your fucking outlets. You'll have to crack the paint on the window sills to open your window.
All right, so the Michigan protests?
That type of shit.
Yeah, the other assholes who are
come back to the
giving
light,
us
guys.
A bad name.
Come back to the light.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's first of all.
Was there a lot of gathering? Because I couldn't find a lot of pictures of this. So was there a lot of people? How many people were gathering together in a space at one time?
According to NPR, there was roughly 150 people in vehicles doing the, what would you call it, gridlock protest. And then probably another 100 or so out wandering around on foot.
Yeah, but were they congregating in one area?
Oh yeah, the state capitol, Capitol steps.
Could you get a traditional protest photo of a people grouped together with their signs?
Yes,
they weren't social distancing at all.
No masks.
No, and they asked one guy because they come up to him and they said, "Okay, so what are you here for today?" And he's like, "Well, I'm here to protest our rights being taken away, and et cetera, et cetera." And he's and the reporter's like, "Okay, so, question for you: do you believe the virus is real?" He's like, "Well, of course the virus is real, but it's just not as bad as what they're saying." And he's like, and the reporter goes, "Oh, okay. Well, I happen to notice you're wearing a mask." so if you're not that worried about the virus, why are you wearing a mask? And his answer was, well, this is for the people around me. I don't want to make people uncomfortable. But you're out blocking traffic to a major hospital during a pandemic.
There is a middle ground there. I can understand the viewpoint of that precautions need to be taken, but we might be going too far. But unfortunately, that's the only thing that we're only going to know in hindsight. It might help us prepare better for the next pandemic, but for right now, we have to take every precaution that we can because we don't know a lot of things. But I understand the idea of oppressive government. You know, maybe they are overreaching, but nobody. I think maybe they do actually feel, but I don't think any reasonable person in Michigan feels like this is the new normal.
No, I keep hearing they're taking away my rights and our right. They're taking our rights.
And that's bullshit.
You know what? How about my right to keep breathing, asshole? How about that one? I have rights too. I want to keep living, and you're trampling on that. Don't tread on me, fuckface. How about my oxygen? My right to keep sucking oxygen. Sorry.
And don't use this as an excuse to you suddenly finding some sort of cause. Unless you've had issue with the way that our rights have eroded up until now. Like, this isn't. There's in the realm of citizen privacy, we've lost a lot more rights than we are losing now during this pandemic. So your perspective is way off.
Well, look, first of all,
if you think this is like the final straw of the government, like going too far.
Let's put the bullshit baby to bed, and the bullshit baby that these people were trying to prop their fucking their reason for this protest up was that Governor Gretchen here in Michigan said you can't buy U.S. flags, plants, or seeds for plants. That's just not fucking true. That's just not true. That's all there is to it.
Right. Yeah, okay. We talked about this. There's just sections of stores that have been roped off that just happen to have seeds and flags and stuff in them.
Well, I had 3 people today who are older and conservative. So this is the protesters' wheelhouse. Old white conservatives who were like, why are these people going and protesting? I just went to ACO, did curbside pickup, and am redoing my garden. I got mulch, I got seeds, I got, she made a point of saying, you can cut your grass, you can do lawn maintenance, you can do landscaping on your property. She just, you're not hiring a whole fucking crew of Mexicans to come in there and do the shit for you. So get off your ass, gringo, and do your own fucking lawn work.
Well, I'd be interested to see where these people land after we come out of the other side of this, and we start looking at what types of precautions we can do to prevent this from happening in the future, because that's going to involve a lot of giving up of personal information. It's going to involve information that we would normally consider very private. Some of the most private things are health records and our travel records. And it might get to the point, I wouldn't be surprised if this is government mandated that we give up this information, but I think most of us are going to be willing to give it up willingly if it's going to keep us safe from an outbreak like this.
Well, here's the reality of the situation. Very few people that I saw at the protest or heard interviewed or heard, whether it be on television or the radio, were sitting there harping on the issues of, well, why can't I go boating? Why can't I play golf? Why can't I buy seeds? Why can't I buy this? They were people who showed up waving Confederate flags with an AR-15 on it that said, come and take it.
Their biggest issue here is that Whitmer made their president look bad.
Boom.
Well, that's the thing is, this turned
That's their biggest issue. They're not really worried about freedoms because they don't honestly, if they're protesting this and they don't understand what their rights and freedoms are in this country, they just have the narrative in their head that Republicans are pro-freedom and Democrats are anti-freedom. That's it. So if a Democrat's taking action, it must be to restrict our rights in some way.
Hey, aren't you the pro-life crowd? I'm pro-living. All right?
We're pro-birth. You know that. The minute you get here, you're on your own. Fucking newborn, stop crying. Get a job.
Yeah, right.
Leech. You want me to give you the money the government just hands me?
Using all your parents' money.
Well, when it's in the womb, it's a precious life. After it's born, it's just a crack baby.
Well, see, my problem with these assholes is one, people, you don't want people to protest. No, I'm not going to play that game. If you know me, you know, fine, go protest. The minute you start stopping emergency vehicles carrying people in a life and death situation because of your bullshit nonsense you're protesting, I hope someone runs you over and runs over your fucking stupid melon fucking head and it blows up like an overripe fucking pumpkin. I swear to God. Die. Die, motherfucker. You are no longer part of the human race that I give a shit about. If your little bullshit don't tread on me flag you feel is more important than the life of a fucking person who happened to contract the virus that you're out here protesting about and basically spreading.
I think if you're organizing a reasonable protest with a good cause, or at least a well-organized cause, you have to understand that you're going to do something that's going to interrupt a section of a city, of society in an area. And that could have ultimate consequences of, somebody's life being in danger because they can't get to the services they need. That's a possibility in anything. It's just that I think you should make sure that your cause is pure and just before you start organizing major disruptive protests like this.
Person in the back of an ambulance, 104 fever, delirious, delusional, possibly dying of coronavirus. 3 idiots wearing USA banana hammocks, waving fucking "Don't Tread on Me" flags with Blue Lives Matter fucking bumper stickers.
Right, probably a shirt that says what they do for a living and what their hobbies are and who they voted for.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, That's
a convenient shirt.
You are not running a fever to the point where you're delusional. You're not in the process of possibly dying. You are stopping people from getting medical attention. And by the way, these are the same people, I guarantee you, that go online and find these videos of Antifa getting run over or the shit beat out of them for blocking traffic and post, yeah, get them fucking faggots. Teach them to stay out of the fucking, what are you doing blocking emergency vehicles? Now they're doing it. So you know what I say? Yeah. Run them faggots over. Run them hillbillies over. Put them motherfuckers in their place. After a few heads get popped, I think they'll get the point. Get the fuck out the way. I'm done with this shit. This is not the time. Not the time to coddle you. I'm done coddling these fucking people. This is not games. This is life and death here, folks. Get over your shit.
It's all based on a false argument too, of that. The Democrats think the virus is going to kill us all. Right? Nobody thinks it's going to kill us all. We think it's going to kill our health infrastructure in a way that affects us all.
Yeah,
it's going to collapse our hospitals so that more people die unnecessarily.
If you paid attention to at the beginning of this, when we flatten the curve is not just a fucking buzz phrase. It basically, we would break the healthcare system if we did nothing. We would have destroyed we'd be talking about millions of deaths and stuff. We're going to come in probably under 100,000 on this thing, death wise. We would have had millions.
Yeah. I think they keep showing the curve and comparing it to what could happen if we didn't do any of the social distancing and stuff. They keep taking out that red line though. And that red line is important because the flat curve doesn't go over the red line. And the red line is the capacity of our hospitals.
Yes.
So that sharp peak, while it looks like, oh, well, why don't we just let everyone get sick who's going to get sick, and then we'll just get past this. And look how brief it'll be. No. It goes way over the capacity of our hospitals.
No, because
the whole thing collapses, and we have long-term consequences.
Well, because that's when the things that we keep hearing being warned about will happen: mass graves, storing bodies in hockey rinks. That's when that shit'll happen. No,
things that make you look at your society and your country and go, "What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
what is going on here? Do I need to bail?"
Yeah, right.
How's Canada looking?
Well, no, just how's Mars looking?
Yeah,
there's and
how's the underground looking? Maybe
in the last 2 days, for people who don't live in Michigan, Beaumont is a series of a network of hospitals that has a pretty good foothold.
Very good hospitals.
Has a very strong foothold here in southeastern Michigan. I'm not sure about the rest of the state because I've never been to the hospital in the rest of the state.
Yeah, I think it's just in this area. But yeah, both my kids were born there. I've had nothing but great experience with Beaumont.
Okay, now they turned one of the hospitals into a COVID-19 emergency center. This hospital happens to be 3 miles from where I'm sitting. It's dead center of my area that I work in. 2 days ago, as of let's put it this way, as of a week ago, they closed the ER. There is nobody in the parking lot. They moved everybody on the third or the fourth and fifth floor of this hospital, and it was all COVID patients. Now they're actually able to move some of the COVID patients who've recovered out, and they're like, we actually have beds in the ICU. This didn't hit as hard as we thought. Now, that's not an invitation to go out and try to hit the numbers they initially gave us.
Yeah, it's not party time, everybody.
And it doesn't mean that we overshot our initial estimate. It's that we were successful.
Exactly. And that's what I think is people are having a hard time getting through their head. And then there's just the bullshit of uneducated, poor, and just dumb people. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of those in this country. Those are people that those black people can't get coronavirus. We immune to it because of our skin. Yeah.
There's a lot of analogy to fighting a war here, and here's mine. This is like you have people on the front lines of this war that are fighting it so effectively that it never reaches any further than that. So the people in the back are going, I don't see what the big deal with this war is.
Unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
You heard that safe drivers get rewarded with Snapshot from Progressive, so you went online to check it out. But then you saw an ad for a vintage baseball cap, and now you find yourself checking the stats of that team's second baseman in '97, wondering why his stolen base total dropped after his rookie season. Wonder how much his rookie card is worth. Yes, they said it was easy to save money with Snapshot from Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
Nya nya nya. Ba. Ba. Babue. Zimbabwe. The broken Bunsen burner burns so bright. Southeast Asian Peninsula.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
I think the only line we need from you today is drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Cool. I just gotta finish my warm-ups. Foul, throw in the towel. History.
Switch to Progressive today.
Santa ski slalom in a salmon skin suit.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
We've got a lot of fucking persons other than grunts, sitting back in their fucking armchairs talking about, let's go turn it into Lake Afghanistan. Let's just make the Middle East one sheet of glass. Chicken hawks. That's what they're called. Well, I'm out there in the fucking shit. Let me tell you a little fucking story. I pull up today to a customer's house, and the guy's standing outside, and he smoked a cigarette. He's a little bit older than me. And he confirmed it when he started talking to me. And he's got that 1,000-yard stare. And I'm thinking, okay, he's probably thinking about something, whatever. I pull up, I'm like, how you doing today? And he goes, not too good, man. I was like, what's going on? I'm sorry to hear that. He's like, man, I'm 45 and I just buried my sister who's 51. I was like,
I'd be shitting my pants.
Damn. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, man. He's like, was it related to the virus? He's like, absolutely. He's like, I didn't see her the last week she was alive. She got tested. She tested positive. They told her to self-quarantine. She was fine one day. She was, I just feel a little under the weather. And then she started talking about, I'm feeling lightheaded, kind of like the room is spinning. Next thing you know, she's gasping for air, and they throw her in the hospital. Took her cell phone, stripped her of everything that for her to contact the outside world. And that woman, this man's sister, 51 years old, no underlying health conditions, sat in a fucking room full of strangers, choking on her own fucking fluids, dying alone, unable to contact her family because they wouldn't let her family in there or even on the phone to talk to her. Well, once she was on the ventilator, she couldn't talk. So, and I'm sitting there going, this guy is 2 years older than me. And he just buried his sister, who's my sister's age, with no underlying health conditions. And she was, the scary part, the look on his face, she was fine. She was fine the morning she went to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And then it just happened. And I'm sitting there going, at that point, I wanted to go back and just quit. And be like, look, I know you won't fucking give me time off, so I just quit. This isn't essential, and we're risking people's lives out here over bullshit. I'm sorry. My job is not essential. I'm not providing a healthcare service. I'm not providing life-sustaining food because I'm working at a grocery store. It is a luxury, what I do. It is not necessary. It is not what is the word they keep using?
Essential?
Essential, yes. Yeah. No. We're expendable is what it is.
Yeah, these protesters at the Capitol, these are COVID hawks. These are people who haven't had the illness directly affect them because if it did, they wouldn't be out there protesting. They would know how serious it was if it actually touched a family member. All these people out there protesting are fucking lucky. They are lucky sons of bitches.
Here's the scary part, and this was brought up to a few people in interviews, and they just basically glossed over the question or shined it on and acted like it was a dumb question. But I thought it was a very valid question. They started asking, where are you from? Oh, I'm from I'm from the UP, or I'm from the Thumb, or I'm from the northwest side of the state. So wait a minute.
I'm sorry. This was a local news segment on the public radio station?
Well, yeah. Well, it was their Lansing branch out there on doing the man on the street interviews.
Okay.
But yeah,
sorry,
it is NPR. But yeah, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute. Ask the question. Point out the fucking bullshit to these people. That way they understand it. Wait a minute. You drove from the UP down here. Now you're out here with all these people with no protection, not doing any social distancing, and you're going to drive back up to the UP. How many gas stations do you think you're going to stop at? How many places do you think you're going to stop at to get something to eat on the way back home? You could be taking the virus back to your people back in the UP. You could be spreading it to half the fucking state. Just because you live in the UP and haven't seen it yet, because it's so fucking sparsely populated up there, doesn't mean you can't take the virus back with you, you dumb fuck.
But, tyranny!
And you guys know I'm a stickler for fucking civil liberties. But this is a different fucking story. And I've said it before, and I do mean this with all my fucking heart. The government tries to do a power grab and not fucking let go of the power. Start planting those fuckers in the ground. Put bullets in politicians' heads. They'll get the point. This ain't the time, folks. We're not doing this. All right? We will replace you. You work for us. It is not the other way around.
Run a crop duster first and just Lysol the whole area.
Well, I mean, there's also the good chance that all we got to do is let one person with COVID into fucking Congress, and we're going to have a whole bunch of new Congress people come November. There's a bunch of old motherfuckers with underlying conditions in Congress and in politics. Just send a couple people with looking a little peaked in there. See if their stories change. But I'm all for it. If they try to snatch our fucking rights, fine. Fight fucking back. That's what the fuck this country was designed for. That's not happening yet.
There's a lot of talk about risk factors, age, obesity, and if you smoke, and all the stuff that they're trying to look at that might make you more prone to die from this disease. But one thing that we're pretty confident on is a good shield for if you get this and you don't want to die, try having a lot of money.
Yeah, it tends to work.
Because who's the rich person that's died from this?
That isn't old as fuck. I can't name. Hey, Tom Hanks was one of the first people that was a celebrity diagnosed with it. He just hosted Saturday Night Live.
Like, I can't imagine John Prine was like super. I hope he was well off enough from his career of writing amazing songs, but he also had a lot of health problems.
No, he wasn't doing well before this shit ever fucking got a hold of him.
Yeah. It could have been the flu that took Prine out, honestly.
It's like when we talked about Bill Withers, like 81 with previous heart conditions.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Right. Boris Johnson, he had the ICU, but he came out fine. He's going to be all right. I'm sure a lot of politicians wiped their brow after seeing him walk out of that place. If he's going to make it, I'm going to be okay.
Well, the problem is that when the viral load, you can get not as bad of a case of it and be Boris Johnson and survive, yet someone who's 20 could get a massive viral load, like those kids at spring break who, you know, from last I heard a couple days ago, a couple of them are on their deathbed. So I know it's cold-hearted, but I kind of want someone to walk in there with a camera and be like, so do you not care if you get coronavirus anymore? Oh, I'm sorry. You can't be heard over the sound of the iron lung breathing for you. Okay. Here's Tom with the weather.
Big fan of your work, sir.
No, it's a good day to you too, sir. Well, I said
Gunsmoke is a great show.
By the way, I just another Lebowski thing is one of the guys was talking and he kept saying, "Am I wrong? Am I wrong?" during the interview. Yeah. And I literally yelled at my radio. I pulled the dude. I said, "No, Walter, you're not wrong. You're just an asshole."
Yeah. I alluded to it last week, but I'll tell you guys, like, this seems like the perfect thing for us right now, because if you're dumb, like if you don't believe in science, this thing will take you out. Like, oh, whatever, it won't get me. And you think you can go on and live your life. And
no, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. If you're dumb and you don't believe in science, you will be a spreader of this disease. It has no effect on the mortality. That's the worst part about this.
Fair enough.
You will get it, you will get sick, you will get family members sick, and the old ones will die. That's what will happen. And you'll survive, and you'll probably not think of this ever again.
Yeah.
But also never take any personal responsibility for being a spreader of a deadly disease.
It'll be because it was Whitmer's fault that she made us go protest. That's why Grandma died.
I brought it up last week too. Can we stop pretending that being overweight isn't an underlying condition? I keep seeing things on the news. Like I saw the thing the other day, like 20.
They're looking at it more and more now.
Yeah, like my 24-year-old son had no underlying conditions, and he died. And you see a picture of the guy, and this guy's like 50 pounds overweight. I'm like, I could see an underlying condition right there. Like,
right.
His heart has to work harder. His lungs have to work harder than the average 24-year-old.
With a lot of obesity, you have a lot of respiratory problems as well, and I think that's the what ties it together. I don't think it's directly being obese. I think it's
it's all the stuff that comes with being obese.
Right. So I might as well be fucking obese right now, because with my asthma, I don't have a good. My outlook is probably 50-50 if I catch this.
Mm-hmm. Weeks ago, I read an article that broke down. Now, remember, this is like 3 weeks ago, so I'm sure these odds have changed. Your odds, and you would keep adding to it depending on how many underlying conditions you have. And according to this chart, God knows how scientific it really is or isn't. I was probably about 70% chance of if I caught it, of living. And I'm like, so wait a minute. So it's what? 2.8% of the population is going to die from it? Whatever it is. Me? You're 70-30. I mean, maybe if I'm playing blackjack.
What's it take those odds? Add those odds in a casino. I'd fucking take them all day.
Exactly. That's the way I'm trying to look at it. Like, actually, the way I look at it is the way my dad, my family, who all went to war, said. The minute we got off that fucking plane, or the minute we climbed down that fucking rope ladder and then hit that beach, I just looked in the mirror and said, "You're a dead man. You just don't know it yet," and acted accordingly. Because if not, you drive yourself nuts thinking about it. You just obsess about it. And I mean, I'm not saying this is fucking war, but that mentality has served me well, because if I sat and thought about it, I'd fucking work myself up to the point where I'd just be in the corner fucking refusing to leave the house. And I've seen people, tough people, break over this shit, have breakdowns. Like, can't take this shit no more. I'm fucking sick of this. Like, quote unquote essential workers who have to go to work. Of course, more and more I hear you don't really have to, but who knows? I don't know at this point. There's so much misinformation floating around. I mean, you know, that's the other thing. All that stress, that's not good for your immune system. Not at all.
Nope.
You know, and then you add to it the bullshit of, you know, some of these people that I'm talking about are the only breadwinners in their family. If they get sick, that's it. I mean, shit turns into Lord of the Flies very quickly. That can't be good for them. And I'm just like, I'm waiting for that first horror story. Knock on wood. I haven't heard one from anybody close to me or that I know. But I know it's coming, especially in this state, especially with what just happened. This just proves to you that, really, it's more important to go to Lowe's than it is to tamp this down as best we can.
Oh, she said it in her speech today. She's like, you know, I get it. Which, again, she played the card that you love, the like, hey, be mad at me, whatever. But she's saying, like, I get it. You're upset that you're having your freedoms limited by the stay-at-home order, but ironically, it's probably going to end up being longer because of this. Like, if we have to stay inside another month because all of a sudden there's a flare-up because of these tards, I want names, all right? Facial recognition software is a thing. We can find you on social media.
Well, someone called in, you know, the obligatory phone call into... It's no longer sports talk. It's just talk radio now.
It's called We Gotta Fill Time, folks.
But they called in and were like, you know, how about this? All right, you were there. We can prove you were there. You get sick. You go to the bottom of the list. Just like a transplant list. Okay, you burned through a liver and you're 50 years old. How'd you burn through it? Drank and smoked and acted a fool. Okay, well, are you rich? No. Well, then you don't go to the front of the list. You go to the bottom of the list. And when it's your turn, if they find out you've been smoking and drinking while waiting for a liver, you go back to the bottom of the list. So you want to go protest? That's cool. You will get the last shittiest ventilator that we can give you when everyone else has fucking had them.
Get the manual ventilator that you have to operate yourself.
Yeah, it's like one of those accordion things that you use to stoke the fire.
It's fireplace bellows hooked up to a tube. This ventilator you get, asshole.
Comes with Daffy Duck and Scrubs to work it for you, you know. I mean, and I get it. I get that. Believe me, I understand the anger. Trust me, I get it. I understand the anger because I take it personally at this point. Like when motherfuckers, like, they see me, I'm delivering, you know what I'm doing, and they want to fucking like come up and like have an encounter session and stand like. First of all, before this shit, you're too close to me. I want to pull a Dylon and choke the shit out of you because you're too close to me. But now, especially, you're really too close to me. What the fuck are you doing? Back up, dude. Seriously.
I found some interesting quotes from Meshawn Maddock, who is the organizer of Operation Gridlock here in Michigan. This was an interview that he did with Fox 2. He starts with, quarantine is when you restrict movement of sick people. Tyranny is when you restrict the movement of healthy people.
Yeah, I saw that meme too. Congratulations. You quoted something you saw on the internet. Not you, Aaron, not you, but
yeah, I know. Yeah. Which it's not a bad. I think it's a good statement. I mean, I don't think it directly applies to what's happening here, but I think I can still agree with that. But he then just goes nowhere from there. Like these other quotes from him. He says in this article from this is on the New York Post article, but the quotes are from the Fox 2 News interview that he did. It says, echoing President Trump that, quote, we cannot let the cure be worse than the disease. Maddox said the restrictions are wrecking people's lives and have killed more than the virus.
On examples of both, buddy.
That's an interesting... Here's the example. Sorry. Meshon is a woman. I didn't realize that, but healthcare system is basically shut down, she said.
Because it's full,
right.
Idiot.
Quote, the people with issues are having trouble seeing a doctor because everyone is focused on the virus. My husband and I are checking in on my in-laws, but even doing that is now breaking the law. Okay, so let's break down. These are the issues that you think are the fallout from our response being worse than the actual disease. So do you think that the healthcare system is basically shut down because everyone's decided not to take any patients and only wants to deal with coronavirus, even if they even if it's not a problem for them, so they just shut down the office? No, it's literally shut down because of the number of cases.
If you check this person's social media, I guarantee you they're one of these, I thought the hospital were so busy assholes.
And we've restricted your freedom of movement, and now you have to break the law to check in on your in-laws because nobody owns a phone or has any way to communicate with somebody else.
I don't call my mom every day. It's crazy.
I don't care how fucking old your in-laws are. They have a device that allows you to go, hey, are you alive and doing okay? Are you staying indoors? Great. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah. Every day, call my mom. No fever? No cough? We're good? All right.
You got to go look at them? You got to go over and touch them? To make sure.
Once a week, I bring her shit, and then done.
And like everything else, like how worried were you about your rights before this, and how worried were you about your in-laws before this? Be honest.
Exactly.
None of these, all these of all my friends and acquaintances that I've known for 20 years, and the reason I said 20 years is because I'm going back to 9/11. All the conservative ones were all gung-ho for the Patriot Act. And this is what we have to do to guarantee our safety. So if we have to give up just a little bit to guarantee our safety, so be it. Oh, that's because your boy was sitting in office and pushed the legislation through for him to sign into law. It was because someone you voted for. Right. So now because let's stop the bullshit. I'm the most misogynistic motherfucker on this show, and I don't give a fuck. I wear that badge proudly. All right. I don't have a problem with Governor Gretchen because she's a woman.
You're canceled, Rich.
Good. Cancel me. Cancel my ass to the point where I just sit at home and collect a fucking check. Social Security cancel a disability or whatever. That's all I care about. But no. I don't have a problem with her because she's a woman. And the only problem, I believe I said this the other day on the show. If not, I said it off the air. The only problem I really have with her is that her executive orders have been kind of ambiguous and have needed clarification after she gives her press conference. But I don't think that's like a hanging offense. She's a politician. All right. And she's trying to use the softest language and find the common denominator, which is the dumbest person out there who's listening to her, which we now know there's some really dumb fucks listening to her.
The worst part of this to me is that it seems like they're organized enough that they're probably going to get enough signatures on a ballot to try to do a recall vote, which they're not going to win, and all it's going to do is waste a shit ton of taxpayer money and everybody's time.
And on top of that, okay, so we can't even get out to handle the primary vote. They're delaying it. So, wait, do you think just because you get enough signatures to trigger a recall vote that they're going to fucking schedule a recall vote in the middle of a pandemic that's going to risk even more lives just so the people who are pissy that woman in Michigan, that Democrat woman in Michigan told them to stay home so they can get her out of office? No.
Yeah,
look.
I don't know how. I approve of the process. I'm not saying They're using politics the way it should be used. That's fine. I just think it's a bad use of your time and energy, of everybody's time and energy.
By the time we get around to voting, the recall vote, putting that process into motion, and it finally getting here, it's going to be next fucking year. What are you going to do then? You seriously? Like you're going to vote her out over something? That's why I know most of this is political grandstanding. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's people unable to give up their tribalism and realize, folks, now's not the time to point out, well, that bunch over there, they got brown eyes and we got blue eyes. So we have to find a way to persecute and subjugate them because they're not like us. Now's not the time for that. We'll get back to that. Trust me, we will. It's human nature.
Just like all the things that we were told about wasn't the time for post 9/11. And I think just like post 9/11, the adage of freedom isn't free applies here as well. We are willing to voluntarily give up some of our freedoms temporarily in order to ensure that our freedoms remain strong going forward and that we don't have to live in a country that has to go into martial law once a year to try and avoid a pandemic wiping out half the civilization. That's what we're fighting now for. I'm not trying to say like I'm doing something proud or honorable. I'm just trying to save mine and everybody else's life.
Unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Yeah, this season I actually had little business cards made. Eric Rubino, Fantasy Baseball GM. You can keep that. Sure, the players are famous, but come game day, I decide their fate. What's that? Oh, you make 20 million? Well, I don't like your attitude. You benched! No, I'd never bench an all-star, but I could. That's also why I like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. With options based on my budget, they never throw me a curveball. That's a little baseball reference for you.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Oh, hi. Okay, guess we should talk about something. Kind of tough to be put on the spot. Not sure what to say. But I know what I'm definitely not talking about. Drivers who switch to Progressive can save big!
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
I will say this. I guess this is one thing I do disagree with her on, but the way I see it, by the time this happens, the shit has hit the fan, and the last thing the cops are worried about is, why are you heading up north? When she put you have to be by, I think, the 10th of April, if you own more than one home, like you got a home up north, you got to be in it, and that's the one you got to stay in. Here's my problem with that. If the supply chain breaks down and society starts breaking down, a lot of motherfuckers who live near cities are going to pack their families up and head up north. But if we're to that point, I don't think the cops are pulling you over asking you, are you going to your up north cabin? Well, here's an $880 fine. And at that point, it's like, thanks. At least we got something to wipe our ass with when we get there.
Right.
I ain't paying this fucking fine. And fuck you, pig. Get the fuck away from me.
I'm starting a militia when I get to my cabin.
Yeah, by the way, at this point, when the cop goes, do you know why I pulled you over? You level the shotgun in his face and go, because I let you, motherfucker.
I'm meeting a
Get
guy
back in your car.
I'm meeting a guy named Terry selling me some fertilizer.
Somebody pointed out I think if I can find the quote again, I think it was in this article, but it was pointed out that a lot of, like you said, there's people from the UP that were coming down to the Capitol to protest. Now it's the middle of April here, but it is Michigan and we got snow today.
Yeah.
Like it lasted long enough to coat the ground. It was kind of weird, but guess what happened up in the UP? They're expected to get 30 inches. So this person's question was, how are you not going to social isolate when you go back to the UP? We're all going to be socially isolating because we're going to be snowed in.
But they want to plant their fucking grass seeds underneath 3 feet of snow.
You think if the American flags and the seeds are like at the edge of the department and it's just roped off, and you just reach over that barrier and grab an American flag and take it to the counter, what do you think they're going to do?
Not a goddamn thing.
Call security? Call the police? Dial 911? Get the governor on the line? What is going to happen? What do you think is going to be the problem? They're going to frog tie you and fucking leave you in the back room until the federal government figures out what to do with you?
Business
you're
owners,
some sort of dissident?
Trump shows up, helicopter lands in the parking lot. All right, to Gitmo with this one.
Look, business owners at this point are so desperate to be considered essential and to keep stock moving that I guarantee you, if you go to an English Gardens, a Nathan's, nursery or something like that, and go, look, I know that I can't go over there and get those seeds, but I need seeds for my garden. So if I put money on this counter, can you go get those seeds and bring them to me? And I guarantee you they'll do it.
Green, and you give them the handshake with the $20 bill in it. For some trees, if you know what I mean.
It's like
we don't sell pot here. No. I'm just looking for some actual trees. Can you give me some trees?
It's like the movie Get Him to the Greek, and he walks up and he's like, I'm looking for a friend of mine at the hotel. Could you check to see if he's here? Sure. What's his name? H-E-R-O.
And when you approach the person at the counter, make sure you touch the side of your nose. That's the signal.
He touched his face. Spray him down.
I'm looking for some essential supplies, if you know what I mean. Touch his nose. Touch his nose.
That right? Okay.
Touch,
first
nudge,
of all,
know what I mean.
I haven't thought about this till right now. The last person, and I have a friend in mind, Aaron, Chris, you might know him. Don't say his name, but I'm like, oh, it would be horrible to be fucking quarantined with this person, especially if he had an unlimited amount of Coke. Oh God!
Oh, yeah. I think I know.
Yeah, I'm like, oh. At that point, I'd have been at the Capitol, like, shoot me! Shoot me!
Hey, just think about this. Someone had to be. Someone is right now.
I know. I know two of them. I'm kind of waiting for mushroom clouds to just appear from the northeast.
It's like having Begbie and Spud in lockdown together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no good. It's look, folks. If you're listening and you're one of these, this is all bullshit people. First of all, why are you listening to us? Because you're not going to get. We're not co-signing on your bullshit. You're wrong. You may stop your internal dialogue. You are wrong. Okay. Second of all, if you really fucking are feeling that froggy, find a party store that's selling a fucking mask. They got them. The N95 mask. I walked into a gas station today, and they had a bunch of them behind the counter. Okay? Slap your $3 down. Slap your mask on.
How are these motherfuckers getting them? We're hearing about national shortages. You can get one at the bodega in the hood. What the fuck?
Drive over to Beaumont Hospital in Wayne. You can walk the fuck in through the ER entrance, unless they've locked it by now, and take your ass up to the 5th floor and go for a little tour until security finally throws you out. Take a look at the people laying in beds dying. Take a look at the people who have died in beds, who are still laying there next to people who are trying to fight to survive, and who knows how long that dead body's been laying next to them. Go up and take a good look. Get a good look at what death looks like. Not this abstract idea that we have as modern Americans of death, because we keep death shrouded in mystery, and what goes on at the fucking at the funeral parlors is almost like a secret. Like, you don't want to know about it. You need to see this shit. You need to see the reality of the situation. I think this is why 100 years ago they were more prepared mentally and emotionally to deal with this shit, because death wasn't something that visited you once in a while, visited your family once in a while. You had 8 kids because you knew 2 of them were going to die, and you needed them to work the fucking farm, okay? They had funerals in fucking house. And this wasn't that long ago. When my great-grandfather died, they had his funeral. They put him in the living room of the family's fucking matriarch's home. And that's where they kept him for 3 days until they put him in the ground. And they made fucking kids sleep in the room with the body in the casket. Right? This is
right.
Like, seriously.
Well, the bad news is the 8-year-old's got the consumption. Good news is Martha says that the womb factory is open for business again.
But I mean, like, seriously, if you're that cock diesel sure that this is all bullshit, spend $3-4 on the mask, go up into Beaumont Wayne and go for a tour as long as you can until they stop you. Which I don't honestly think you're going to get very far, to be honest with you. I think you'll probably get to the elevator. The minute the elevator door opens to anything higher than the second floor, you're probably going to have an armed guard escorting you out. That should tell you something, too. But then again, my freedom. He waved a gun at me because I was wandering around a hospital. That would never happen before. So, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to get through these people. Like, I saw this shit today, and the shit made me sick. I literally felt like I ate something that wasn't sitting well with me. I don't get that way. And I saw it, and I'm just like, this is... George Carlin popped in my head. Think of how dumb the average person is. Now realize half the country's dumber than that. There's the half that's dumber than that. They were all in Lansing today.
Yeah. Oh, we want to talk about one more thing before we end the show? We did most of the show on railing on the idiots in Lansing, which was deserved. DJT. His name's going to be on the stimulus checks because why not?
I don't think that's true.
No, it was a rumor yesterday. It's been verified by the Department of Treasury.
Really?
It is happening.
So they're going to rubber stamp like when you work for
I can't read the story because I'm not subscribed to the Washington Post, but their headline is from 2 hours ago, Trump denied he wanted his names on the stimulus checks. Yep. Here's how it happened. So that means that they did put his name on there, but Trump's still denying that it was by his direction, that the IRS just loves him so much they're like, I've got an idea.
Let's see, a Reuters story here. It said this is from Reuters. Asked the Internal Revenue Service put his name on them, according to the Washington Post. So it's fake news. I don't know too much about it, but I understand my name is there, Trump said at a news conference on Wednesday. I do understand it's not delaying anything. The Washington Post reported that Trump's name will appear at the bottom left in the memo line.
That's the most old person thing I've ever heard associated with Trump. First of all, your name's on a check.
Yeah.
But not even on the signature line, but on the line that nobody uses except for the old people who still write checks for the utilities.
You know who's getting a check?
Or puts on for 15th birthday in the memo line. That's the most, probably the thing that gets put in the memo line the most.
You know who's getting a check? People over fucking 60 and people who have jobs under the table. That's who's getting a check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. But they did open the portal. I recommend you go and if you haven't gotten your, but I used it before we hopped on. I even got on just to check to see if my status had updated, and I've been able to use it fine without it crashing on me.
Well, because you use it off-peak hours, like in the middle of the afternoon today. It was just,
no. I bank through Chime, which is like internet bank, I guess, what you want to call it. And they sent me a notice as soon as the portal was active. And I got that email and went on immediately. So either I must have beat the rush because it was early in the... But yeah, so that's not bad. Look, obviously there's going to be an initial rush, but I was able to get on early, and then later on in the evening, I was able to check my status.
Now, I was reading stories in the middle of the afternoon about how the IRS site crashed because it was the initial rush of, like I said, you probably got in early. You know, You're a smart person.
Yes, but it was back up and running fine by the evening. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
like,
correct.
Yes, there's going to be crash. The thing didn't crash completely like it was a disaster. It just gets overloaded.
Yes, correct. Because there are limitations to computer servers. But yeah,
you just go in there.
Same thing happened on bank websites today too, just because everybody got stimulus at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you go on there, you punch in your information, and then it tells you if you don't have direct deposit info already on file, then there's if you have direct deposit, then there's no reason for you to do this. You probably will already receive your shit this week, but you have the opportunity to put your info in there, and if it updates properly by tomorrow, I should actually know when I'm supposed to see that direct deposit hit.
There's been varied success. My wife had like I said, things I've been reading and Google News, very familiar story of pretty much said, we don't know and we can't tell you. And then I've read other things of people going, it told me it didn't know.
It doesn't know. And it says right on there. So you get your results screen afterwards. Mm-hmm. It says, hey, we got all your information punched into the system. You're all set. You will be receiving your stimulus money through direct deposit. This site updates every 24 hours. So it's basically telling you, don't check back every hour because it's not going to update.
Now, she got payment status not available. According to information that we have on file, we cannot determine your eligibility for a payment at this time.
Well, that might be a different case, and I don't want to divulge your personal situation, but you have a little bit more of a unique case. But overall, the reports of not having a status just mean that's exactly what I got. They don't know, or they may know, but it just doesn't even update. You don't get the information right away as in, like, this is the date you will get paid. You get confirmation that your information was received, and by tomorrow, everybody should be seeing their status.
Interesting.
You should be able to see the actual date.
So, but I mean, I guess my question is, did it tell you that you were? Did it tell you were eligible to get a payment?
Yes. That's the first thing it does. You put in your personal info.
That's what I'm saying. I'm reading the screenshot. It's saying it can't even determine her eligibility to get a payment.
Okay. Yes.
So that's,
and I know a guy who smoked all his life and didn't die of cancer. You're using a unique situation that you're describing there.
No, correct. But also, I was reading that this was happening to lots of people who were also getting the same response.
But the response that you described that people were getting was that there was no update as to when they would be getting the money. They got confirmation like I did. They put it in their information. You get confirmation like, yes, you're supposed to get money. Yes, we have your info. That's all the confirmation anyone got today. Nobody got status of here's where your money is and when to expect
Correct.
it.
No, the stories I were reading were saying a lot of people were getting things like this, or like, hey, find out when you can get paid, and then this was saying we can't tell you because we don't even know if you can get paid. Is a lot of people were running into that, not running into your situation. We're running into the situation of this is supposed to tell you when you can get your money, but this comes back with we don't know if you can even get the money. Is what a lot of people were running into. It was in true government fashion. It was supposed to help them out, and then went, I can't help you.
Yeah,
for a lot of people.
I wonder, well, you keep saying a lot of people. Like what's a lot?
Enough
like
for
1,000 people is a lot.
Enough for reputable news agencies to publish several stories about it this afternoon. You know, it wasn't OANN.com. It was stuff like NBC News.
Right. So it could be double digits, triple. Millions? What are we talking about?
I didn't check their figures at the time. It was enough for them to do a story on it.
Well, we know that doesn't take much.
Agreed.
I'm sure there were news organizations that were looking for stories of, this site's going down for sure.
Right.
Unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
You went online to switch your car insurance to Progressive so you could save money. But then you saw a friend request from an old summer camp buddy. And now here you are, clicking through photos of his kickball team from 2011. Looks like they won the championship that year. Then he moved to Tulsa. Oh, a new tattoo. Yes, they said it was easy to save hundreds on car insurance with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National average savings by new customer surveyed who saved in 2019.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're gonna fit sold.
Pop stars with auto-tune.
Yeah.
And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
Hey, it's Rick from upstairs. Yeah, I take it seriously. When I play R&B at 1 a.m, that's me saying, hey, I'm here for you. And I enjoy repetitive bass lines. I only use expired batteries in my smoke detectors. Nice, right? Yeah, upstairs neighbors help people forget their troubles. Give them something else to focus on. Ooh, want to see how high I can jump?
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor.
No, wait, let me try again.
But we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
So we got anything else?
Yeah. Just some real quick nerdery on my part. Apparently, I think it's Esquire magazine did a article on the new Dune, their visits to the Dune set. And they had like the first looks at characters in costume and stuff. So they had Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa, and the guy who plays Paul, who's the main character in one of the main characters in Dune. I think his name's Timothy Chalamet.
Yes.
He was in 1917, right?
Remember we were watching the SNL skit where they're doing the master class with Timothy Chalamet, and he teaches you how to wear a hoodie?
I've never heard of this tool, and I've heard of him twice in the last 48 hours.
Yeah. Oh, he's big. This will not be the last time you hear his name.
But shit looks righteous, man. Shit looks like
it's Does your wife talk in her sleep? Because she's the prime demographic for him.
Well, not to give too much information about my wife, but if he's not Latin, he's got no chance.
Wait. So that's why she's with your Lebanon ass?
Sure, yeah. Apparently,
because you got a little bit of pigment to the skin. You were as pale as an Irishman. It's been no go, no bueno.
Hey, whatever. I checked the box. It needs to be checked. I'm not complaining.
When I hit it good. But I was kind of shocked. Oscar Isaac looks. They aged him up a little bit because he's playing Duke Leto, Paul's father. And he's he's younger than all of us, I think. So they gave him a little bit of gray in his beard and a big bushy full beard. And I was like, all right, I can kind of see it. He can maybe pass for late 40s, early 50s, and et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, if you're a fan of Dune and you suffered through the David Lynch Dune, which I can't even put all the blame at David Lynch's feet. I just feel like the studio really, really didn't let David Lynch do his thing. But if they did, it'd have been even weirder of a movie. But and then the Sci-Fi Channel, their miniseries for Dune and Children of Dune, they stuck to the story. But holy shit, there was a serious lack of funding there. There was literally at one point in the Dune miniseries that come out in 2000, John Hurt, who played Duke Leto.
Some dude with blue eyes.
He played Duke Leto. He played the main character's father, is almost hit by a piece of falling scenery that's supposed to be a rock that was just literally a piece of cardboard that fell over in the background, and they didn't have the money to reshoot the scene. Or to fix it in post. So it's just literally this, you see it for a split second, you just see this, look at that rock formation, and it fell forward and went thwomp and kicked up a little bit of dust, okay?
Oh, man. But you better hope they nail it this time around, Rich, because you may not see you might not live to see another Dune reboot.
No, I won't.
If they fuck this one up,
No, it's done with.
It'll be studio cancer for decades. It'll be the curse of Dune. It'll be like nobody will even say its name in Hollywood anymore. It'll be that fucking Herbert book.
Yeah, this isn't Little Women or A Christmas Carol. They're not going to remake it every couple of years, no matter what. So. But no, the one thing I'm kind of worried about is that they've already announced they're splitting the book up into 2 parts, like they did It. Which
sounded like good news.
That's fine if the first part performs, and Denis, whatever the director's name is.
You're worried that you're going to get half a story because they're not going to make the other half.
Well, if you look at his movies,
it'd be better to have, if the movie's not going to perform well, it'd be better to have at least one cohesive story in one movie instead of the back end that'll never come.
Yes, because I grew up remembering Buckaroo Banzai will return in the next Buckaroo Banzai movie, and no, he didn't. You lied to me.
Kevin Smith's still alive. There's still a chance.
It's true. But, the only person in the world who
should reboot that.
Exactly, who wants to reboot Buckaroo Banzai. But, no, my concern is that the director, he did Prisoners, which was a good movie, but it's not a feel-good movie.
It was a movie? Was it a big film?
It had Jake Gyllenhaal in it, and oh shit, brain fart? Who's the guy that played Wolverine?
This must be post Jarhead Gyllenhaal too, right? Because he's probably ripped.
Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal, Don Cheadle. No, not Don Cheadle. The guy from Hustle and Flow, Terrence Howard.
Oh, cancel. You got the wrong War Machine. You're racist.
But and then he did Arrival, which I liked as a sci-fi movie, but I get that some people didn't. Where Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner meet the aliens, and they speak in a language that they have to draw.
That wasn't great. That was a really beautiful looking movie that had some like, I mean, I like the actors in it. I was just like, are you going to give them something else to do? It was kind of boring, wasn't it?
That's my problem, is that this director...
And a big build-up.
This director
it was
makes
like
movies.
Like 2 hours, and it turns out the alien was her fucking dad.
Well, you blame Carl Sagan for that. He's the one that wrote that. Yeah. Dig his ass up and kick his fucking bony ass around for a little bit. But no, here's my problem, is Denis Villeneuve, or whatever his name is. The movies he makes... Some are really good, and then others are like, he made a movie called Enemy, and it is boring as shit. I'm sorry, I know this is blasphemy in certain circles. Blade Runner 2049 is the best anti-insomnia shit I've seen in a while. That shit put me right to sleep. I was like, I don't give a fuck about any of this.
I enjoyed it. I didn't like it as much as the original, but I don't think anything could touch that. But I don't know. Everything that he's done, at least that I've seen, has been really beautiful. He doesn't always make compelling film. He makes beautiful film. And with good source material, I think that it could be really successful. That being said, a lot of people find the source material to be unbearably boring. So how successful this is going to be with a wider audience, that's a crapshoot.
Dune is dense. The world lore is damn near impenetrable without going to the back of the book, like Tolkien did. He has like an encyclopedia of explaining the world of Dune at the back of the book of Dune.
It's never been my bag, really. I stopped halfway through the first of the trilogy of Tolkien books when they got stuck in the planning phase. There was like a 3-chapter dinner scene that I was just like, no, there's nothing going on here.
See, that's how I felt reading The Lord of the Rings. I was that, and when I saw Clerks 2, and he's like, They're fucking movies about walking. They're books about walking. Even the fucking trees walked in those fucking books and movies. And I was like, yes, exactly. I can't.
But the fucking director of the movies,
Peter Jackson.
Yes, I almost said Guillermo del Toro. I was like, no, the other fat foreigner. Everything that he does, like those movies are so beautiful that the boring parts are acceptable. And that's what I'm hoping for these Dune movies. And people ate that Lord of the Rings shit up. I loved it. I was at the theater opening day for every one of those. And they're not all great. They're just all beautiful looking.
Well, here's my concern with Dune. One, Dune is set, if you don't know, like 10,000 years into the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like is
this supposed to be our planet, or is this a galaxy far, far away?
Oh, Earth has been abandoned.
Okay.
Fucking.
But are the
centuries ago?
But abandoned? So the people that we see are descendants of Earthlings?
Yes.
Okay.
And they've scattered out so far into the universe that eventually they found a planet, Arrakis, aka Dune, that on this planet, these sandworms produce a spice that's almost forces evolution, which gives people basically powers, for lack of a better term, like prescient visions, and they can also, if they imbibe enough of the spice, they can fold space for faster than light travel. So, I mean, like, everything is mixed up. Like, everything in the Dune world is mixed up. Their religion is a mixture of Catholicism, Judaism, Buddhism, Muslim. The word jihad is used as casually for the word war as we use the word war. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So my concern is during an excerpt of this Esquire or GQ or whatever magazine it was that went to visit him on the set, an excerpt of this interview is he was like, whoa, we're trying to update it for people today in the younger crowd, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, stop. Please, God, no. Don't try to fist fuck wokeness up Dune's ass. Dune has always been woke. Dune's always been progressive. Please do not go in there trying to fucking put some 2020 bullshit spin on something that's set 10,000 years in the future and try to act like, well, this is a comparable to what's going on today. No. The main thing about Dune is that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's not a white savior story because no one is truly white in that in this book. The races are all mixed up. Now, the one thing I do like is that he did go after Zendaya, is that her name? The chick who played Mary Jane in the Dune?
Yes.
He got her, and he got Javier, the bad guy from No Country for Old Men.
Javier Bardem.
Thank you. Now they're playing the Fremen. The Fremen are quote unquote the native people of the Dune planet, but no one's native to the Dune planet. Mm-hmm. But if you spent thousands of generations there, eventually you would evolve and have darker skin because it's a desert world, right? Cool, great, wonderful. Do that, because it was kind of weird watching a David Lynch movie and everybody's pale as an Irishman on a desert planet.
Right.
But don't try to fucking fist fuck some woke flake bullshit in there because you think you got to, I have to tell a story. Frank Herbert wrote Dune because he was worried about the state of the world and the Industrial Revolution and its lasting footprint on what it's going to do to this world ecologically. This is as woke as it gets because it's fucking 70 years ago, folks.
I think your fears are reasonable because we've seen this happen. I think Carnival Row is a perfect example of a show that could have built its own beautiful world to invite people in and then use the characters and the dynamics of the story to tell things that reflect upon our own life. Instead, they started with the premise of, let's see how we can make this an analog for what we're going through now. And that's always a bad starting point. So I think your fears in general, when it comes to the media that we're getting lately, are reasonable. That being said, I haven't seen an example of that from Villeneuve before. And these are also kind of like code words that he's using in the industry. You know, they have to update it for new. They want to, first of all, he's got to make sure that the people who are invested in this movie that, hey, the kids are going to want to see Dune. This is going to be a franchise thing. That's what he's promoting. And also, there's updating a film. It's used as a bad term sometimes because sometimes films get updated in ways that don't make sense. And that you lose the original, what made the original special, the thing that you're adapting. But it's also something that just needs to happen with film. You know, Watchmen is a perfect example of a film too slavish to its original material. They made very few changes to it and ended up with something that looks like a really beautiful moving comic. And it's an enjoyable film, and I own it. I've watched it multiple times, but it's not a great film. And Watchmen, the TV series, while it takes its own license, tells a much greater story. It has its own failings, but I appreciate it more than the film because it did try and take the story and make it its own. Now it's not, retelling the original Watchmen story, but yeah, I'm all for updating films. Films, if you're going to put out a film in 2020, it better look like a film in 2020. And if you're going to take, it's decades old sci-fi material that is pretty out there and not the most accessible sci-fi, you need to find as many ways in for your audience as possible. I'm like, the woke part is just a sliver of what I'm worried about. I'm also worried about trying to force a square peg through a round hole like they did with Picard. Yeah, the new CBS show. They took Star Trek. Miserable, isn't it? Star Trek has so much potential. Star Trek has always been, this is our best foot forward in the future, and they completely aspirational. It's a futuristic aspirational show, not a dark future. Yes, and then they turn around and they retcon the entire Star Wars universe, because if you remember, all through the original series, all through the Next Generation, and through a good part of Deep Space Nine, there was no, there was personal possessions like a book, or Cisco was a baseball fan, so he had baseball memorabilia, et cetera, et cetera. Picard was a Shakespeare fan, so he had original works of Shakespeare. But, they turned this into, this gritty, everyone's yelling, fuck you, fuck this, fuck that. It makes no sense. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not the Star Wars world. Remember in the fourth movie, they go back in time, and they get on a bus, and the guy's like, the punk guy's playing his boombox, and Kirk's like, excuse me, could you turn that down? He's like, why don't you kiss my ass, piece of shit? And, Spock looks at him and goes, what does kiss my ass, piece of shit mean? He goes, oh, these are colloquialisms from a cruder time. Now we have Picard, which is even farther ahead in the future than Star Trek 4 was set. And they're just dropping F-bombs like it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. Yep. I was waiting for Samuel. Picard. I'm just going to hang out and vape my drugs. I was waiting for Picard to wash his hands and Samuel L. Jackson to pop out and be like, what the fuck, nigga? What you do to his white rag? I washed my hands. I watched you get them wet. When I got done, didn't look like no goddamn maxi pad. I was like, is this the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek we were talking? We were told it was coming? Because I was waiting for that. I was like, you're kidding me with this shit. It feels like to force contemporary shit into fucking sci-fi. Stop it. It feels like a CW show produced by HBO that Picard just happened to walk onto. Absolutely, and he was like, "Oh, this is a perfect opportunity for me to have reunions. Oh, look who it is! It's my old friend Data." It's like the fucking Picard variety show in the middle of a bunch of characters I don't care shit about, and in a world that doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before in Star Trek. Doesn't feel like anything.
Even when he goes back to Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco, it didn't feel right from everything I've ever seen from Star Trek headquarters in any of the movies, including the reboots. Like, this just felt like it was literally a production and director and writers directors and writers getting together going, we know that people would love Star Trek if we gave them what they want. Let's give them something they don't want and see what they do. And guess what? That's why they're now giving it away for fucking free. People weren't going to pay to watch that shit. Sorry, folks. CBS All Access, what is it, like $15 a month? Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I don't think
so.
No, it's like $6. It's $6.
Oh, is it $6?
Month. Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of people did it. It did up their subscriptions. I mean, that's a big name, Patrick Stewart. And I think a lot of people thought what I did, how bad could it be? Like, at least we get to see Picard again. At least we get to see a great actor just kind of strut. And when you watch it, it's actually just kind of miserable. It's like, wow, you've just wasted Patrick Stewart's time with this show, haven't you?
I was kind of...
I didn't finish it. Does he die?
I have no idea. I gave up after like the third episode.
I made it to 5. Oh, boy. There's some really interesting characters that pop up.
It might have been later than the third episode. I gave up when...
Did you see the dude with the he had the hologram of himself that was the AI that had a different accent and different hair, and it was totally confusing. Like, this guy has some weird ambiguous accent, and then he has a hologram that pops up that looks just like him that has another weird but different ambiguous accent. Like, what the fuck is any of this supposed to be? And is this supposed to be funny? Was he supposed to be the comic relief for the show?
I have no idea. Where I gave up is when he went to go see, I can't remember the actress's name. She used to be on Law and Order SVU. She was in the first couple seasons. The black chick, Chris, do you
with the blonde hair,
plays Raffi?
Yeah, Michelle something's her name.
Yes.
Raffi, put down the vape pen. I'm trying to talk to you.
Yeah, she's vaping. She's taking Picard to task because you live on a family.
I did not understand their relationship at all.
And I was like, why would he sit there and put up with this shit? Why? Second of all, it was established that was like the winery that he lived on wasn't like, it's not ownership in the Marxist capitalist sense that we think of ownership. That's been canon in Star Wars or Star Trek for decades now. She comes in and starts berating him for basically being part of the bourgeois, and I'm like, stop. If you want to have a Star Trek show that centers around the struggle of moving from the struggle between capitalism and communism and socialism or whatever the fuck.
You gotta go off planet for that. That's what your alien races are for. So you can tell the stories of what Earth already went through, because our Earth already fixed all these problems. We're practically a utopia. That's what Star Trek's about.
Exactly. When you have a
democracy, spreading the word.
When you have
proselytizers.
When you have a replicator that you can go, I would like a 1959 Fender Stratocaster, and it makes a perfect copy of one. What do you fight when you have those all over fucking the ship, where food, drinks, clothing is no more than a button press or computer, Earl Grey, hot. That's it, and it replicates it. You're telling me that all of a sudden there's going to be this la resistance struggle going on? Get the fuck out of here. If you want to tell that story, then do a prequel. Go back to First Contact area.
Raffi didn't have to go out to live in a trailer in a desert somewhere to just vape and veg. She could have done that anywhere. She could have done that as part of normal society. What is she supposed to be running from?
And the whole vape thing was just like I get it. You're trying to appeal to the younger crowd, but it's already been established through Next Generation, their poker parties, that the replicated cigars and shit pose no health threat. So if cigarettes and cigars pose no health threat, like this is, I get that it sounds like I'm yeah. You can kiss all my ass. I don't give a fuck if it's nerdy. If this has already been established in Star Trek fucking lore, why are you rewriting and trying to redesign the fucking wheel? Stop it.
Yeah, they have no idea what they're doing with it.
The short answer they'll give you is because 25-year-olds.
I am just the most casual of Star Trek fans, and I knew that it didn't feel right. You can cite actual examples of where they've gone completely to. They might as well be making their own show.
Yes,
you know, like if they had an original sci-fi show with Patrick Stewart, they might have had something there. They could have put together something interesting. But yeah,
Rich. By the way,
if you're not going to pay attention to the original source material, then why are you making Star Trek?
Which, by the way, Rich, the easy way out with me would be to also pick on me for knowing to actually call you a nerd, for knowing for knowing the context to call you a nerd. Come on, that was the easy way.
I think, Rich, tell me if you agree with this. The big difference between Star Trek and Star Wars is that Star Wars has always felt like it's like a huge universe that we only see little bits of.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Star Trek is laid out with precision. This is where we are. This is what we're doing. There's not, yes, we'll find new races and discover new things and all this stuff. That's part of the journey. But the world has been built. The major structure has been built. Star Wars has just a skeleton that has plenty of places for us to hang new stories off of. And, I mean, so does Star Trek, too. It's not restrictive. You just have to know.
Well, Star Trek also, especially once they got to the movies and the Next Generation, when Gene Roddenberry was still alive, they would actually flesh characters out. They'd get, you know what I'm saying, whereas Star Wars has always been, Han Solo was as cool as he was because Harrison Ford's that good of an actor. Let's be honest. Like Luke Skywalker has always he was always too goody two shoes for my taste when I was a kid, like one-dimensional goody two shoes. And then in the new movies, like I had a bad dream about my nephew, so I got to kill him in my sleep. Wait, what? That makes no sense. Your father killed younglings, and you still refuse to kick his ass because you said there's good in him. You had a bad dream about your nephew, and you want to chop him up? All right, Dahmer, calm down. You know what I'm saying? Like, jumping the gun a little bit. But Star Wars is always what you said, space wizards, fantasy in space, essentially. Whereas Star Trek has always seemed like this is where if the best of humanity wins out, we could go. And yes, we're going to run into problems. We're going to run into other races who aren't as interested in peace as we are, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, Starfleet and Star Trek never lost itself in that shit. And you know what I'm saying? Like, even as much as Kirk hated the Klingons, like, they made a point, the last, like, legit standalone Star Trek movie with the original crew was a movie about him coming to terms with the fact that you can't hate all Klingons for something one Klingon did.
Yeah.
You know, which is like, message, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
God, I hate me some black people because I got cut off by a black guy one time. It's like, that's not logical. You can't be like that.
If you're going to make a period piece about British colonialism, you don't get to rewrite the Brits, right? They're established. The actions and the attitudes of the British Empire around the turn of the century are well known and understood. You get to play with, you can make up some Aboriginal race that they find for your movie or TV series. You can play with that world, right? So just like that, the Federation pretty well fleshed out there. You don't. There's not a whole lot of room to move, but there's a whole other world out there that you get to play with. That's your playground as a writer when you come into the Star Trek world. I don't know. We got to wrap this up though, because we're into the day that this is supposed to post. So
it's an old school show today. So just a reminder: social media at Unregimented Pod on Twitter, Unregimented, or at Unregimented on Instagram, Unregimented at ChristopherMedia.net is the email. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, ChristopherMedia.net. Anywhere you can listen to a podcast is where you can check us out. Thank you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.
Later, guys.
Unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, have you noticed how everyone's grammar is completely awful now? Like, the texting and the LOLs. Whatever happened to punctuation? I mean, drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
ChristopherMedia.net.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.